Got some breaking news coming in right now. The Election Commission is in favor of a life ban on convicted politicians. This, of course, relating to India's Election Commission, which has told the Supreme Court of the country that convicted politicians should be banned from contesting elections for the rest of their lives. A life ban on the conviction could seal chances of politicians like Lalu Prasad Yadav of the Rashtriya Janata Dal in Bihar contesting an election, or the AIADMK's VK Sasikala, who's from making her debut in electoral politics. The election expert Sanjay Vora joining us on the broadcast to talk more about that story. Mr. Vora, thank you very much for speaking with us here at WION. What do you make of the Election Commission's voicing of its opinion that it's in favor of a life ban of convicted politicians?
Actually, Election Commission has always maintained that, politicians who are convicted, especially those where the imprisonment could be more than 2 years. So, Election Commission has always maintained this. But it is for the government and political parties to recognize that, there is need for criminal politicians to stay out of contesting elections. So, I think it is a welcome decision. And Supreme Court would also agree to this. But what remains to be seen is that whether politicians and the government agree to it.
All right, we seem to have lost our connection with Mr. Vora. We'll try and reconnect with him in a second. But just for you, for those of our viewers joining in on the broadcast right now, the Election Commission of India has voiced its opinion, saying that it's in favor of a life ban for convicted politicians. Now, it's told the Supreme Court of India that convicted politicians should be banned from contesting elections for the rest of their lives. A life ban could seal the chances of politicians of the likes of Lalu Prasad Yadav of the Rashtriya Janata Dal in Bihar. And of course, the AIADMK's VK Sasikala might be prevented from making her debut in electoral politics, considering she is incarcerated in a jail in Bengaluru as we speak. Of course, this announcement by the Election Commission is not something entirely new. The EC has maintained in the past as well that it is in favor of preventing convicted politicians from contesting polls. However, this time around, it has told India's Supreme Court, the apex court of the country, that it's in favor of preventing convicted politicians from, or rather tainted politicians from contesting elections. This, of course, could have far-reaching consequences for a number of lawmakers in India. The lady on your screen right now, VK Sasikala of the AIADMK, is currently in jail in Bengaluru. She was convicted in a disproportionate assets case earlier this year. Also, Lalu Prasad Yadav, the former Chief Minister of Bihar and, of course, the Chief of the Rashtriya Janata Dal, a major party in the eastern state of Bihar. Mr. Trilochan Shastri, the former ADR chief, joining us on the broadcast right now. Mr. Shastri, good afternoon. Thank you for speaking with us. What sort of impact do you think that this decision, if it does go through, of course, would have on many of the politicians in India?
I think this is a welcome step of the Election Commission. And, if you are convicted of a crime, you cannot even become a government officer. So I think what the Election Commission is saying is very good. And I think about 30% of the elected representatives, 30 to 35 in all the assemblies and parliament, have some kind of a criminal case. I don't know how many of them would be convicted, but I think a large number of them would be debarred for life. And I think parliament and elected representatives need to set the ethical standards and for the voters. So I think it's a good step.
Right. What do you think are going to be the main hurdles in making sure a legislation of this kind would be passed?
I really don't know, because if we go down the legislative route, Parliament would have to pass such a bill, and it's very unlikely it will pass such a bill because it is not in favor of any such measure. On the other hand, if there is some constitutional provision that the court can find based on which it can debar them or find some technical loophole saying that perhaps they can be elected but they cannot be sworn in because they are still convicted and so on, then something positive can happen.
Fair enough, sir. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon and speaking with us. For our viewers who are just tuning in, this is a quick reminder of the story we're tracking for you right now. The Election Commission of India has said that, or rather told the Supreme Court that it's in favor of preventing convicted politicians from contesting elections for the rest of their life. My colleague Jessica Taneja joins us on the broadcast on the phone line for more on that story. Jessica, take us through some of the salient features of what the Election Commission said today.
Well, Aisha, the Apex Court has asked the Election Commission to come up with a detailed report as to what they think when, in fact, one of the petitioners had moved the Apex Court asking a lifetime ban on convicted politicians. So the Apex Court earlier had seen a little dilly-dally about what they think on this particular issue, but now that they have given in their affidavit and said that they completely agree with the ban on convicted politicians for lifetime. Now we also have to understand, Aisha, that the existing law only disqualifies politicians who are sentenced to a jail term of only 2 years or more from contesting elections to 6 years, or rather from the date of release from prison. But the lawyer representing, in fact, the Election Commission said the lifetime ban was needed to curb the growing criminalization of politics in the country, which is, in fact, one of the main plea of the petitioners. So the Election Commission has come side by side with the petitioner saying, yes, in fact, they do need a lifetime ban on the convicted politicians from, in fact, holding offices.
What's been the life cycle of this case itself, Jessica? Tell us a little bit more about the petitioners and what exactly the main bone of contention is.
Well, Aisha, remember the last time, when the petitioner called Ashwini Upadhyay had moved the Apex Court, he had sought that there should be a lifetime ban on politicians. But that time the Apex Court had asked the Election Commission, and the Election Commission was neither supporting it nor were they, accepting what the petitioner had said. They said they would come out with a detailed report, but they neither said yes or no. So that way, the position that the Election Commission had taken earlier on this perhaps was only because they didn't conduct their own analysis or do a round of their own report. But now that they have, I think they completely coming out. In fact, their advocate today said the Commission supports the plea to the extent there should be a mechanism for decriminalization of politics. He said we have not taken a decision, but whether it fails or in legislation's domain or not, but this is a necessary step. So, of course, there is more clarity this time from what in the previous hearing we've heard about this.